Sure, at my house.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Bearston. Joining me, our co-host, Garrett Punchy Dill, Coach Nikita Robinson, as well as Maceo Dill. Let me just run down, before we get into everything, let me just run down the scores from this past week. Started off with the friendship on Wednesday night with Robin Hood going down 4-0 to Somerset Trojans. It was also a shield match. Paget Lions defeated BAA 2-0, and then it was a single friendship match on Wednesday night. I'm sorry, those games were Tuesday night. And then Wednesday night was a single match where Devonshire Cougars edged Crossroads 4-3. Now let's look at the Premier Division. On Thursday night at BAA Field, it was Boulevard Blazers 0, PHC Zebras 9. Yesterday at Wellington Oval was Hamilton Parish 3, Dennytown Hornets 1. Today at Bernard Park, North Village Rams 0, St. George's Colts 4. At Lloyd's and St. David's was Crossroads 2, Somerset Trojans 0. In the first division, it was BAA last night defeating Devonshire Colts 1-0. At Southampton Oval today, it was Paget Lions 5, Wolves 4. At Lloyd's and St. David's, it was St. David's 2, Island Rangers 4. And at the Police Field, it was Young Manchester Club 4, Southampton Rangers 4. Big scores, a lot of goals this week. But first, let's get to that Tuesday night affair. We'll start off with the BAA Paget game, as that was the first match of the week. It was a shield match. It pitted the two teams who had taken on each other on the Sunday. We talked about that, Punchy. BAA, just looking at how they would have come back out after beating Paget on the Sunday, now having to play them on a Tuesday night with a different attitude, Paget team.
I think always with BA eventual coaching, there's always in terms of what they're trying to achieve. Even if it's not a result, a positive result, even if they lose, it's about what they're trying to achieve. And so I'm saying this because when I go watch the training sessions, training programs, what they do, how they play the game, what is the mentality there. And I just think that the direction of what's happening out there is really, really positive. There's a blueprint for where maybe national programs should be thinking about.
And then, Maceo, because we talked about it, and Coach, I'm going to let you have a chance to speak about it as well. Paget, a different looking Paget. Obviously, they were disappointed with their performance on the Sunday, but turn around and come back Tuesday night and take care of business, advancing.
Well, it just goes to talk about the players that Paget have and the mentality. They're not going to be put off by being beat. Some people get put off by being beaten. It's like, okay, being beaten and I'm going to hold on. That being beat, those type of players are going to be inspired by that. A lot of those players have been in underdog situations enough, and that inspires them. And then if you speak about BA, again, we always speak about the amateur behavior. Okay, you beat this team once in a certain way. How do you pick yourself up? And the next opportunity to solidify that. But we know in this country we have the amateur behavior, so that it's hard to show. I mean, that would show up, and they're a young outfit. BA is a young outfit, so it doesn't surprise me. I was hoping that the organization is carried on to make a Paget have to organize, how they negotiate the relationship with league, versus just having good players. But it doesn't surprise me that Paget with the mentality of the players that was able to respond to this.
Yeah. Well, Coach, let me ask you, even in the women's game, you have these scenarios. having beat a team on a Sunday and then you play them again on a Tuesday night, what's sort of the mentality, especially for the team that won, to set up and try to repeat that performance?
It could be a lot of factors. We're going to a Tuesday night, a team that has schoolboys, am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to school all day, and now they're gonna show up and play a game. They're gonna remember what they did well on Sunday, and now they've been in school for 2 days, and that's happening. So there's a lot of different little pieces, right? But I have to agree basically that why is it that we can't, like, I beat you, I'm gonna beat you now. Now's the time to beat you again. I just beat you. I'm in your head, I'm in you. I'm gonna beat you again tonight. And what stops us from having that arrogance, I guess, or having that sense like, yeah, okay, I can do this, we can do this, as we did it. So it's not like they didn't do it, they did it. So now it's a matter of what did we do well on Sunday to beat Patrick, and how can we make sure that we do the same thing? Fix the little pieces, because I'm sure it wasn't a perfect match. Fix your little pieces, and then just go at them again, like hit them again, go hard, start hard and fast. So I think that would be the case in the Sunday match. Patrick may have gone into it, we're gonna bully these guys, we're gonna take this game, and they caught it. But then they realized, hang on a second, okay, here's what we have to do. We really have to play. We can't just take it for granted. So Patrick would have come with a different mindset on Tuesday for sure.
Sure. Then the second game that night was the friendship match between Robin Hood and Somerset Trojans, with Somerset coming on top 4-0. I guess the plus sign for that was Robin Hood had players on the bench. I don't know if we say quality players, but they have players on the bench. So now they have somewhere they can go to get a team put together. But again, it's that worrying time if they pick up injuries, what happens. But looking at Robin Hood, bowing out of the friendship, is that a plus for them? Now they could just try to concentrate on just league survival, or advancing helps them with getting some of the new players game time?
Me, I would think they would need a good run in the friendship because they're not going to survive in the league. It's very doubtful that they're capable of surviving in the league, but they can get motivation for a cup run. And the fact that they got out of the friendship, it's going to lower their motivation again. Again, they're not, because they know, they keep in their mind, they know they're not going to survive. They're just trying to get through the season. So I don't think it'd be around for them to lose that game. I mean, if we flip that argument, let's watch what's going to happen to Somerset having a World Cup run. Slowly, Somerset's going to build momentum. So it wasn't important that Robin Hood had a World Cup run. So I don't think it was good.
Yeah. I mean, Coach, Somerset coming off that Dudley Eve win, then a loss. Now they're facing a Robin Hood outfit, which, on paper, the way things are going, they should beat them. And they did manage to do that. But what does that do for Somerset's confidence? Oh, and I ask that because after the win in the Dudley Eve, they seem to have kind of relaxed a lot. And now the coach gets them back up for a cup game, but it's against a team that they technically should beat with the struggles that Robin Hood has had.
Yeah, I mean, they win the leagues and they lose, and now they come and they play against a winning the boss. And I agree with Mason that Robin Hood should, with having their new players now, should look to go on a run to try to build momentum that may help them survive the league. So now their mentality or their emotions are right back to where they were before, or they haven't even moved. For Somerset, and to answer your question, again, out of football in this country, like, they're supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be the Robin Hood, and some of the other little teams. But I would have hoped that after the Doggy Eve, Somerset's went on, because they didn't beat a team that was a bad team, right? They beat Cougars in the Doggy Eve to win that trophy. And again, that mindset, that warrior, that grinding, like we beat Cougars, like we beat a top team. What did we do? How did we do that? How do we now build on what we've done? We go up and down too much. And is it complacency? Is it complacency? Yeah, okay, we got a trophy. We got the first trophy. I know the second trophy. You know what? It's really disappointing, I can say at times, because I wanted to see Somerset just do that, based off of that win. So I don't know what's next.
Yeah. Punchy, in your experience as a coach, and we have to also look at the young team that Somerset have as well. So they're going to have there's similar things to BAA. They're not as young as BAA, but they're young. There's up and down. When they win something, they kind of think they've arrived, and then coach has to bring them back down to earth, kind of thing. Tell them, hey, you haven't won anything yet. Just working through that as a coach. What would your thoughts be in Scott Morton's place?
Well, what they displayed when they beat Devon's Cougars in their cup game, the tenacity, the work effort was really good. I think I said it before, can that be also displayed in a league game against maybe Hamilton Parish or East North Village? That's what Scott will have to deal with in terms of the media being able to sustain that ability, what they did against Devon Schools. Remember, they were 3-0 up.
Yeah.
Right. So you understand that they do have that. Can they sustain it? Do they always do that when every game they play? Even if it's one off, even if they could just say, okay, so what we're trying to do is build this program. And I thought that's what they need. That's what Scott would have to kind of deal with at some time. And what he wants to understand it. Maybe don't happen this year. Maybe in 2 years' time. That's where we're going to be at.
Sure. And then that other friendship match on the Wednesday night saw Devon Cougars edge Crossroads 4-3. Now we know Crossroads has struggled. We know that of times they've struggled to keep girls out. And here it is again. They score 3 times, but give up 4. And we constantly talk about what does Ralph have to do to kind of stem the flow of conceding goals. Coach, I mean, what advice? I mean, something's got to give. You can't keep giving up 3+ goals a game and expect to get anything out of it.
Yeah, well, small steps, right? Giving up 3+ goals, but scoring some goals too, right? So the margin is smaller, and he would have to have a process in place, and this can't be a one-season wonder. Like in the beginning, he probably wasn't quite aware of what he was walking into, and bam, the first couple of matches, slams. But obviously, staying there. I mean, 4-3 against Cougars again. Cougars should be smashing those roads. What has happened since their lead loss? You know what I mean? While we're working on the mindset of players, while we're working on the mental side, and I talk about it every show, the mental side of the game is so important in this country. And but for Crossroads to have a 4-3 loss, they're going to have gain a bit of confidence knowing that they can score against some good opposition. But tightening up that back line, can he? Does he have the players to even do that? Does he have the keeper to help do that? The leadership on the field. So that's something that has to be next steps, for them. They should have probably been majority of the steps for him. But again, he's a coach, he's an attacking player. Does he have anybody on his coaching staff that is defensive minded? So it's not, if I don't have the defensive players, I don't have somebody helping me to create this defensive setup, then it becomes an issue. So, obviously it's kind of working through some of the things, and they're 4 goals, that's still a lot.
Yeah. So Punchy, looking at Devon Cougars, I mean, Coach Keeler just brought up some things about them that could be worrying for them. It could really be worrying for Devon Cougars. I mean, ever since that loss at the Dudley Eve, on the mental side, they've struggled. I mean, they got by this one, but they've struggled.
Yeah, there's certain aspects of Devon Cougars games that I see when they were playing North Village, right? Playing D'Amico Connington, like D'Amico Connington at wingback, way up defending. So I was like, why is he getting away from goal? So decision making it's like, Cougars is kind of still. I mean, Kwame, this players, but he wasn't been coaching with the last 2 or 3 years. So I would think he was trying to figure out what he needs to do in terms of getting it past these type of games, especially against North Village. That time they were like, well, North is going to give you 10 million dollars, they will dominate the game.
Yeah.
So there's still some work that Kwame has to deal with in terms of what he wants to do. I just don't. Why would he change the system and playing one of your best attacking outside wingman forwards as a wingman, as a defensive player? It just. I just thought that he has to kind of rethink about his strategy.
Sure. Macy, let me ask you, because it's important that it's important that you know that you can't do it all by yourself. So here you have Kwame, who right now can use help in helping him to get through to some of the players, kind of thing. Who would that person be, or what type of person do you think he needs to assist him in trying to get through to some of the players?
You need a yin and yang. So I mean, immediately that comes to my mind is a background. That's immediately that type of personality that comes to stop the game. People underestimate this guy's knowledge of football. He watched football from afar all the time. He didn't play. And that type of person being around it, Dennis Barnes his uncle, being around it and studying, those people who have a serious knowledge of football. I just had an argument about the knowledge that a referee has. People don't realize the knowledge that a referee has because he watches it, not biased, not from a biased perspective, trying to win it. He watches it holistically. So Kwame would be somebody like that, or somebody that is opposite from what he is. To be able to have debates and have conversations with it. But things keep showing up, and then we talk about defending. We just watch England defend with Harry Maguire, right? So we say what we want about Harry Maguire, but the coaches set up a system around the puzzle.
Right.
Around the puzzle, not just based on Harry Maguire or based on this person. He's put a puzzle together to eliminate exposing his weaknesses and capitalize on his strengths. So we watched the game in Senegal and England today. Senegal was definitely stronger, faster, but England was organized. So that's what we have to learn. And Bermuda, I know our culture. We like expensive football. I mean, I look at even myself, not having international experience coaching. One of the first international games I coached under 15, I warm up 4-0, and the game ends up 4-4. Just not having that experience in the defensive part of the game and being exposed to it. I don't think I learned the defensive part of the game until I worked with Benton. Whereas I thought he was a defensive coach because he's the underdog at the time. So you reflect back on Ralphie and most of the players, most of the coaches in the field, they're very expensive in the way of trying to implement the game, and we have to learn the defensive part of it.
Sure. Well, we're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Premier Division, starting with that Thursday night match, 9-0. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, we've had some fruitful discussion, but on to that Thursday night game. Obviously, PHC come in and they're looking to close the gap on league leaders North Village, and they did just that. 9-0 over a Boulevard team who the previous weekend lost last minute to Somerset. But here they are now, 9. And some of the girls really looked like they were youth football girls, let in. And unfortunately, you have a day like that, but it seems like Boulevard's having more days like that. Let's talk a little bit about the leadership of Boulevard, because you have, and Maceo has been talking about it for quite some time, how Joma sets up. He coaches during the game. He doesn't set his team up prior to the game. He kind of try to orchestrate it through a game. So looking at that score, Maceo, where does the coach go from here for that team?
Back to the drawing board, back to the classroom. He might need to take a break from coaching and assess himself as a coach, and figure out the pieces that he's missing. And it's easy for me from my understanding of coaching, he's missing organization, right? He's a great manipulator of the game into the one. And I use the word when it's chaos in the game. But when it's not chaos in the game, he hasn't a clue. For me, he hasn't a clue when it's not chaos in the game. So if we can create chaos in the game and back and forth, he can pull certain strings. But his preparation towards the game is poor. His preparation and how he sets up his team is poor, and something I said from the beginning, and assessing the coaches in the community. So it doesn't surprise me that a PhD that's running on all cylinders right now can expose Boulevard. And now it's going to get more difficult. It's going to get more difficult when Boulevard's losing 9-0, the knives and everything also getting back, it's going to be that much more difficult. But as I watch him, he's not got anybody around him. So how is he learning new information? Like I told to Jamal, I grew up with him, and our conversation is more so an argument versus a conversation to learn new stuff. So he's not had. If you look at his track record in coaching that outside of Dannytown, and Dannytown, we already know is the big. So you're going to have people around you. You're going to have Jim Baxter around you. You're going to have the Bob Oils around you. You're going to have people around you that you have to listen to coach. Because Rangers is not going to nobody around him. Somerset, he didn't survive because you got a figure like Dennis around you. You got those people around you. Didn't survive. Somerset cut ties. Boulevard has not got anybody around him that wants things and challenges idea of football. So he might need to rethink his idea of football.
And Punchy, let me ask you, the players, how do they stay in it? I know these guys play for Boulevard, that's the heart and soul, the community of Boulevard, but how do they stay in it? If you're losing like that, and and things don't look good because you're unable to. Again, we know the struggles of training. So your training matches are your actual matches. So how do the players stay motivated for this?
But first of all, I didn't even know why Joe even took that job. I don't know why because see, Boulevard is also a case study what we were talking about last week, a case study with direction of Bermuda football and organization. What was Boulevard's intent? What Ian Cook, I heard, is quick, right? What have they done and what is Boulevard done to in the years when they were been when Andrew was there and David and Sean playing a little bit different also, Sean Good. But where have they gone? What are they doing there? So I asked John, when I saw him one time, so why did you take that job? Why do you need that? Because I think you need to kind of read and analyze what you want to do with your coaching experience. It's like I just don't think that don't fit. That is not don't fit. And Boulevard is also a case study in terms of structured calls and what this country needs to be doing. It's not and I had a conversation with somebody the other day about Boulevard. The perfect example, okay, Penny's down Skulls and beating St. David's, and they play this, okay, but what happens when you step up to another level? And Joe Ma came on board, it needs to change the structures, so it's a perfect example of structured football and clone what you want to do in the next 4 or 5 years. And Boulevard is no. I think Joe Ma made a big mistake in terms of going to Boulevard.
Sure. Coach, we look at a team like PHC, and at the beginning of the season, well, even I'm going to throw Maceo under the bus. He said they're not championship material, but they're right in there. They're 1 point behind the leaders. Of late, they've been scoring goals. They haven't conceded many. Looking at a unit like PHC, you think they have what it takes to continue this vein of good performances and good results?
Most definitely, unlike me, so I never come to the moment. Because PHC is just that team, right? You think about that PHC that was right there with Danny Tom, right? A tale of two teams right now. PHC have been probably the most consistent team on this island for quite some time now, right? And it's good because of their structure, their junior programs, and all of that stuff, right? So they're never going to be out of the conversation. They came they beat St. George's, right?
Yes.
They beat St. George's, and then so now your confidence is riding very high, and now you're coming into a Boulevard team where this Bermuda, everybody knows what's happening. So the disarray, what's gonna happen when you come in, and you just take advantage of it. And I enjoy that. I like that because it shows that we came to play we're the better team, and we're gonna show you we're the better team, as opposed to we know better than you. We're just gonna go up and go through the motions. 1, 2, 3, nothing out there joking. No, they took the game to Boulevard and let them know we are better than you. And this is really going on. And that's what we need more in this country, right? We need teams that say, look, we're better than you. And this is how this is going to go. As opposed to being a backyard kick.
Sure. Now let's turn our attention to yesterday. Wellington Oval. We have a Dandytown team right now in pieces. I watched Hamilton Parish dominate them for long periods of time, out-hustle them, beat them to every bowl. Dannytown created some chances, however, I don't even, to tell you the truth, sometimes they had breakaways and wouldn't even shoot. I couldn't believe it. And, it just goes down to where they are right now as a unit, as a team, you have Aaron Jenkins back. You've had DeVar Boyles on the bench. You had, all these coaches. But if the players are honest, they will look in the mirror and look at themselves and say, am I giving enough for this team right now? And if they're honest, they would tell themselves, no. How does Dandytown, Maceo, change? How do the players change their fortune?
I keep saying it's another case study of our club and how we can incentivize and motivate players. I mean, we can talk about last one in that season that was getting relegated. And if that happens at that national level, because they're not got the next step, like bringing in new players or bringing in new situations, the battle clubs, they stay at the top because they keep refreshing. And the best situation in the incentives and keeping it fresh and keeping it challenging was Alex Ferguson. That's the ideal situation where you brought in players, anybody that's not owning, you have one off. We don't have that situation, so how do we incentivize, provide incentives for these players? I'm been in that situation, so I can speak to. I've been in the situation when we did everything and it actually doubled nothing. We look a shadow of what we did, so I get it. It's the amateur behavior. It's the amateur behavior. And it doesn't surprise me that this is happening. And I keep saying that the only coach in Bermuda that's been able to, because of the level of discipline that he is, Scott, has been able to do back-to-back titles. That's the only coach. He done it with Paul Phillips and he done it with the ATN. It was just based on discipline, a level of discipline that we don't regularly enforce at our club system. And that's what it needs to be. It needs to be incentives and certain discipline. Certain things just can't go by the wayside. And I don't know the answer to all that other than the ability to provide these players with incentives and accountability.
Coach, a team like Hamilton Parish, who needed points, they needed to prove to themselves they want to stay in this division, and a win over a club like Dandytown, despite what they're going through, a win over a named club like Dandytown, what does that do for Hamilton Parish's confidence in giving them the feeling that they can actually play in this division?
I want to do more for the fans than I do for players, and that's just the reality of it in this country, right? Names don't really mean much, and I'm just speaking about how I see players interact with each other, on and off the field. So Hamilton Parish would have come out there and they would have been playing gas into the match. They would have, in their Danny Tom may have popped up, but they would have been aware that they just lost 3-0 in the case. Right? Exactly. And so, it's very good for Hamilton Parish, and because they started off really well, actually they started off really well with Danny Tom. So, that may just be their analysis team. But I want to speak a little bit on Danny Tom and the incentives. While I agree that there had to be something else for Danny Tom to play for this year. It still boggles my mind how players are not intrinsically motivated enough to play for the Bears. And do Danny Tom still have that quality of players? So we know they're lacking in the goalkeeping department. When we talk about incentives and things that's happening at the club, they have one of the most tech-savvy persons on staff and Aaron Jenkins, where if those guys want to see how they played that game last night, 2 hours after the match, they can see and they'll see where you should have made that run. I've seen it do it. So they're kind of getting it. That's a lot of things to do. A few weeks ago, they named Coach Jay, right? And I agree with you. At some point, the players have to look at within themselves. Are they even listening to the coaches? Are they trying to do what the coaches are telling them to do? Are they cohesive? Do they even still like each other? You know what I mean? Are they still family like they were last year? Like you can sense that they were a family and they were playing like a family and a brotherhood. All right? On and off the pitch, you can sense that. They lose a couple of players this season. Praise God that they didn't have a tragedy. And so football guys out the window, it's hard for me to imagine that they are in such disarray at the moment, and they really should have like tomorrow night, probably not last night, today, but tomorrow night a meeting, and just put it all out there, and guys being open to accept. You're given information, receive information too, because I can guarantee that there is more to this than them just not playing well.
Yeah, and Punchy, looking at Sergio from Hamilton Parish, remember, we'll dress back a little bit because remember they beat Dandytown 4-1 in the Dudley Eve, and then right after that, their football went downhill because I guess they felt they had arrived. How does he make sure that does not repeat itself again in the league?
It's just also just keeping the players, just keeping them sharp, right? making them understand that we having a wire. You know, again, when I go back to when Hamilton Parish last season, the division was playing. You know, you are expected to be some of the ranges and some of the leaders. But it's a whole different situation when you come up in this division. And it's funny, in a country our size, that can change just like that. Just like that. A practical example of today's episode, Bernard Park. But the point is that Sergio, again, keeping his players just focused. One step at a time, I said, okay, so we're not going to win the league. We might take a real good challenge at the FA Cup. We know we have this progress because I watched when they done over this, at least for they still could have won the game. But the point is, keeping the players focused, doing correct things, learning from your mistakes, and just making sure that you understand it's a building process. It's a building process from where you came from. And I think they're going to be okay. I know they're going to survive. You know, the surprise is going to be, the surprise for me for Hamilton Parish is going to be FA Cup. It's going to be FA Cup runs.
All right. So we're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk today's matches, Bernard Park and Lords and St. David's. We'll be right back.
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, today at Bernard Park, the North Village Rams, the league leaders, took on third place St. George's Colts, and it was St. George's coming away with a 4-0 victory, scoring 3 goals in probably the last 5 minutes of the match to secure a win. Let me ask you, Punchy, do you believe that North Village came in this one a bit too casual?
No. No, I don't mean we came from casual. It's just what St. George's did. The preparation, the tactics, but I think what I noticed today, I had talked with one of the players, and I thought they squeezed over, they squeezed them. And the other thing that was so evident is that St. George's have with the front 6 in a small spaces, they play very well. The whole boys, some of this, when they get, some of the things that we're happy with when I saw them play this PC is that big field, of course, but they were being one-on-ones, they were being to expose North Village one-on-ones, and I thought that I always thought that the front 6 it's just something else. If they can make sure that they keep the balance. When when the game is tight, just keep the balance, keep focused, and sure today. And John Tate's again, I would have liked to have seen more people on there to see this coaching with Kenny and about. I think that we really saw the quality of what St. George's have, against a good, well-drilled defensive team. With no Village. I guess you could say almost what's the game is Poland and today.
France.
Yeah, France. Was a typically, I think I'm always trying to make these comparisons. And I think well-drilled defensive team, yes, okay. But then you got them back there. So I figured this whole first school that St. George's school was excellent. Oh, and then you got John Tate, simple stuff. And St. George's are building a program down there. I still think there's some things are not right in sometimes the middle of the park defensively. But they got a very good goalkeeper, this young man that has been playing overseas and ex-goalkeeper in England. So that was not by mistake what I saw today in terms of how they squeezed Norwich. And it was really a good thing. Actually, it's a good sign for the national program with the young players come to with. And I'm glad for St. George's.
Mason, let me ask you, because when St. George's, because they had an early penalty and it was saved by Detroit Val. And then North Village went down the other end and they had Shaquille made a brilliant save to keep the game at 0-0. Both goalkeepers stepped up in that first half when they were called upon. But looking at that first 45 minutes, I was concerned that St. George's had stuck Jonte out wide, and that allowed the one player to just stand on him. And he struggled a bit in the first half with that. But once he came inside, he started to get more involved in the game. Rotating with Juande, should you see that a little more frequently than you saw it in the first half?
Yeah, I mean, let's first go back. I want to see I'm the only one that thinks George's to win this game.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
did.
Yeah, no, Coach Keelan did as well, yes.
So from that perspective, what I saw in the game, what I see we have to speak from a culture. For Village has been winning, yeah. Village has been winning, but they're not been playing in the Village cultural way. So the players have this type of arrogance that they don't deserve it. And actually speaking, I would suggest that we at Village are very arrogant. But a lot of the times in the 70s and 80s, we deserve that arrogance because of how they perform. This team is not performing to that level to have that type of arrogance about themselves just yet, And once I know the players that St. George's have and the football solutions, so Jonte along with Wande, they have football solutions. So they can create distractions. Putting Jonte on wide is a distraction. It's a distraction that can confuse. And the other big factor was Harvey getting sent off last year. That was always going to be a big factor, and Harvey's got sent off. And that has been the stabilization of Northwood's way of defending, the field in front of it. So again, Northwood's made certain selections. They put July going in there like that. Is not right. Again, I keep talking about this puzzle, putting together this puzzle that I don't think Kenny does well. I don't think he puts together the puzzle well. Turn it over to St. George's coaching staff and the what they had at their disposal. I know Calvin Neal quite well. I know his influence in the coaching and they're working together with the coaching staff. When they're down weapons, we're going to release them. And St. George's is releasing their weapons. The weapons of mass disruption. They can beat everybody like this. So think about what's happened. They'll be the team that don't give up goals for nothing. They can actually beat every team on the island like this here if they get it right every week. If they don't get an idea of themselves, they can prove out. They can beat everybody just like this. So there's no surprise that this happened. And it makes it exciting because it opens it up. 18 trainer and all, St. George's is going to feel they're entitled to be contenders. And I have to say, I mean, I already put me down whole Village Field to do this show. Like, I might get out there and say speak with my criticism, but on the other side, with St. George's, I have to now start calling them a football club.
Well, I was going to ask you, are they a football club now? Because that's been the talk. After today, they say, ask Maceo, is St. George's a football club now?
We're a football club. We're a football club, and we're football teams, right? And then this is how you have to earn your victory code. Sure. You can't. I say about no you can't be arrogant and not arrogant.
But you know, can I say? I'm sorry. I'm just saying. But you have to understand about what you're dealing with first now in the middle now. So this John Jay is playing at that level. This is four boys at that level. The goalkeeper, who's just as we got two of the best goalkeepers in the island playing against each other. But you also got to get the fact that what they did with the one-day basket. Now the one-day, when they first started, they pushed them apart. Right. Now you got to understand. This is what I talked to one day after. So then the one-day came back, and he came back and picked up all he made it comes to picks the balls up off the center half, or you know. So all of a sudden, the game changed. Now who's the one-day playing quiet? But I just thought, I said, whoa, man, the game's changed. So I said to him, because I spoke with him after the game, I said, you want to be a policeman, You're a policeman. I'm not sure you compare players. I said, you just pick up the right pass. You keep everybody calm. I don't think it's a forward. I don't think it's a higher player. But I thought, you got to look at the way the game changed when the run day came back and picked the balls off. And he's just picking up people. He stays calm. But some of the stuff that he done, the intricate stuff that he done, right? And all he does, he stays calm. You never see him angry. And I said to him, I want to compliment him because it's good for the country. So I mean, Kyle, just watch it. Just watch the one day. And I'm saying, I knew that with him playing for St. George's, and that's an added thing. So he could supply the passes to Mr. The school, where they say John D. Smith. The passes are coming in. Now you got these two, the two brothers, the whole boys, and then you got this other. So they are really devastated. It's like something that I'm saying to you that they still saying do you understand that they have this quality front six? They will be a whole. They are really something to see, and you witness it today. Yeah,
Coach. Maceo mentioned it, and I was going to bring it up, but with the fact that Jalen Harvey wasn't in the team, and that's a big hurdle for North Village. What he's been able to do, solidifying that defense in the middle there. But just him being available the next time out, what does Kenny do with those players that kind of, would have filled in today?
It's not rocket science, right? So Maceo speaks about all the time. St. George's reason the record. St. George's coaches don't even have to coach the team. It's easy for the players. What happened against KC, I don't know. That was a blip. But as Maceo said, St. George's can beat any team like this. And I will pick St. George's every week. It doesn't matter who they play. I'm going to pick them every week. You have to understand, we talk about quality, guys. Quality. I heard a conversation between the two assistant coaches of the opposing teams today. They were at my house having a conversation. And St. George's assistant coach was like, I had the best front six players on the island. And North Village assistant coach agreed. I mean, it's not a secret. He's not good against his own club, but the reality of it is, I mean, imagine the North Village boys that are really doing well in England, and it doesn't work out for them, and they come back to the same results. Any team, the Somerset boys that's away in England and they do well, and they come back and make for Somerset. It's not going to be any different. It's easy. Blaze ball just goes to the motions. It's so easy. I'm not even sure if the boys hit second gear yet. It's so easy for them. Done. Now you got John, who yes, very much a slower player. For me, I find it to be a bit lethargic, but great technical player, an awesome technical player. And now you got this guy here who's now feeding in. Again, let's talk to the emotions. And Georgia has got all the emotions to play for this season. So they're going to carry all of that. Juwan Day is Lasagna's cousin. You know, they got Freddie Hall. It's so much. Blaze and catch. Like Freddie's brother. There's so much in Georgia's is playing for right now. And they're enjoying it. So the coaches don't really have to coach. I would be interested in hearing what they're saying on the side. Because I saw when they had to. Beginning of the season when they had to coach. When they didn't have a Takiki Go. When they didn't have a John Tate. When Cash was injured. And no Juwan Day. And no the little boy that was playing in Spain. Or the Malachi truck boy that wasn't able to play. Yeah, so now they have the most quality in any team. If your top 6 is that you could play travel years with Michael. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, St. George's is this result. And when the result was sent to me, I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I was not in any way, shape, or form. I never ever expected to finish in this game. Never.
Just an update on the match that's going on in the Premier Division. It is Devonshire Cougars leading Robin Hood 1-0 after 16 minutes. So the other match that concluded today in the Premier Division, it was at Lords and St. David's, where Crossroads defeated Somerset Trojans 2-0. We have 2 goals in the second half.
I tell you, I don't play no more. You guys compete with each other. I'm done. I'm learning. Where's your white towel?
So let's talk, because we talked about the inconsistency of Somerset, and it's reared its ugly head again. I mean, here you are. You come into a match that on paper you should really beat this team, but we talked about Ralph figuring out how to prevent goals, and today was one of those days where they did not give up any goals and managed to score 2. So, as you said, Coach, they're still scoring, but today they got the reward because they didn't give up any goals. How does Somerset address this problem right now, Punchy?
Well, since the cup game, you look at the results, look at what they achieved.
Are we in a loss? Are we in a loss?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's balanced. Exactly. You know, I think Scott, like I said, I think we talked about this early, like when they won the cup of Devonshire, right? Will those performances stay in terms of just the league, but away from them? Like today, it's not. I don't think it's got this there yet. Yeah, it's just still dealing with a goal. And yes, remember, this is pressure. Right. So you gotta give him his due. There's one couple in, right? And so that's what he will have to put right in terms of when they play away from him. What is his strategy? And it's, what we talked about, it's not embarrassing to go down there and draw no, or win 1-0.
Right.
Sometimes it's always we're exposed in terms of we should always win this game. Maybe it's culture in this country. It's like this is what we're always we should win this game, and who we are. But it doesn't work that way. So again, we're talking about Scott. I think if Scott give him another year or 2 years, but he still needs some extra players who can recruit. I think Ian Cook from Boulevard is a good player, but he just will go off Ian Cook. And just that's what I think. That's what this country is coming on. Who you recruit? Yeah.
So Coach, I mean, just a little while ago we talked about Crossroads, and you may have mentioned that he's got to fix that puzzle of the defense. Today it worked for him. Now, how does he get through to the players to make sure that they remember what they done this time around to not concede goals and limit a team? I'm not saying that they'll get a shutout every week, but what you want to do is limit that goals against to maybe 1 or 2 a game. If you're scoring 2 and 3, if you limit it to 1 or 2, then you can still end up on the winning side.
So I'll tell you what, that as I said, in the 2 or 3 goals, that's confidence. It's a small step, right? So they will have thought about the things that they've done in that match against Cougars, fix the problems, and now go into the Somerset match thinking, you know what, we have a chance, and if they score a goal, that lifts them. But how encouraging for them? I mean, this is the first game they've won all season, right?
In In the league, yes.
They won all the games?
No, they've won 2 games this year.
Okay.
They've won 2 games. They beat Robin Hood, yes.
Okay. But then to beat, a team that has a trophy already, and again, I think what happened with Grocery was definitely work on what we did well against Cougars, and move on from there, and Gumbo's intelligent enough to make that happen. And now the players are they're gonna feel good about this result. They're gonna look forward to training this week. They're gonna look forward to their next opinion. They're gonna work harder. They're gonna fight harder. At least that's my food. Again, it's a thin line in this country, right? But for one second, Seagull and Somerset, it's a thin line because I want you going to play Portsmouth. I'm gonna beat you, but I need you to do that physically, not just mentally. So I'm gonna beat you in my head. I'm already won the game. And then you start with you and you don't call it through call opinion. So that's my take on that. It's a very thin line.
Sure. So Maceo, we look at both teams. Somerset have won 3 games in the league. Crossroads have won 2. 6 and 9. They're battling that point. And I must say the association is still yet to confirm that Boulevard Robin Hood match, because remember, Robin Hood didn't have enough players. So once they confirm that, Boulevard would actually be ahead of Crossroads if they get the 3 points, because they'll move to 7. But it's a gap. When I say it's a gap, if Cougars win tonight, they go on to 20. So you'll have North Village on 22, St. George's and PHC on 21, Cougars on 20, Dandytown at 15, Hamilton Parish of 12, Somerset 9, Crossroads 6, Boulevard 4, and Robin Hood without any points. But these 2 teams here, they have to kind of figure out how to get themselves into the double digits to get away from that relegation battle. How do they do that?
I mean, personally, I don't have any faith that players will retain this stuff from week to week. History tells us that. And they're not going to have it. And they're not going to have it because it's not been built for the youth system. Some things that you see pastors do is just habit. They're not thinking about it. It's just habit. Like technique, for instance, just habit. Striking one goal. These players are not got the ability to retain from week to week. And for some of us, it does not more than out there. That a habit of the coach. He takes the same system everywhere. So that's going to be an interesting dynamics. Can he implement some habit you guys see the players? It's not that anyone hurt you for long time stuff. It's not that it hurts, so you can't go about it that way. So I don't know if they're wrong. I mean, it's something very, when you look at culture, it's something very, very simple happened. You want a game and you just go over it. You score goals. That's just very, very simple. So, okay, all my training sessions are concentrated on not giving up goals. It's not concentrated on how I keep possession on the goal. It's not concentrated on, how I attack. It's concentrated on how I stop giving up goals. So that's where the solution is for him to supply and also for Scott. For Somerset to supply. Scott's got a challenge of making players on this thing. Because right now, you can see they're getting up for a cup game. So they've got a little blood in the cup game. So it's easy to see what's happening. I got a little blood in the cup game because I like that I won a cup at Somerset. So I like that celebration piece. All that game that comes with the cup, and it's an easy move. But I'm not yet at the habit of the discipline to get to a league. So I'm not getting up for league. Because I don't think I can be relegated. No, maybe if someone's against a relegation situation, maybe some behaviors change. So, and if I'm giving any advice to someone, that they should listen to Scott Wood right now, like 150% of the time. They should be giving them one. They're not to that level. They should take everything that community should take everything that Scott has to offer. So that he's no longer there, that they have something to implement. And I think the evidence of that will be the hour that North Village won a lot. after the lights would start,
Mhm.
and PACs stabilizing themselves after the lights would start. I think you can see PACs stabilize themselves in the club after they took a little dark, a little off.
Well, we
They
get
take
them.
on board everything that is nothing wrong after.
Yeah. I guess Ralph is going out and done some recruiting because he's got a new goalkeeper. So we'll hey, you can find them. You can find them. You put them in. Before we go to our next commercial break, another update from over at BAA Field. It is Robin Hood 0, Devonshire Cougars 2. We're going to take another commercial break. When we come back, it's First Division time talk. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, we had to excuse our Coach Keita, who had to run, but we continue on. Let's look at the First Division because it was some very interesting scores there. Last night at the BAA Field, BAA edged Devonshire Colts 1-0. Having played Patrick back-to-back on a Sunday and Tuesday night, now they come up against the Devonshire Colts team, who at times are very organized when Ray's around. So he would have tried to make it very difficult for BA to score. They scored in the first half, but that was the goal that they needed to beat Devonshire Colts. So a team like BA figuring out how to break down a structured defense, it goes well. I mean, if you look at it, with Andrew and with Mark at the helm of BAA, these young people are listening to the instructions, taking all the instructions, doing it in training. How do you think this result sets up for BAA, Lucio?
Yeah, it starts to put them as definite title contenders right now, being the Devonshire Colts, right? Being the Devonshire Colts are always title contenders in this division. But organization within that organization, and I think Bruce gets far more experience in organization. We get the game for July, that playing a structured game football. So the one number without, BA and others, if they can get one goal, they can win it. So like the Italians in that regard, right? They can win games because they take one goal to win it.
Yeah, and remember they just missed out on goal difference of getting promoted last season.
And that's why last season,
yes.
today in if they keep building and learning their trade at this man's level, right? So that's not surprising that result would have to do it. And Drew and Ray are first class.
Yes.
You get up for that. Those are the type of games you'll get up for. Right?
Yes.
I told you about last year when we had coaching against the Sun. It wasn't just letting you have free runs, right?
Yeah. So Punchy, you look at a team like Devonshire, 4 wins, 4 losses now. They're mid-table, the top half of the table, but the organization, they do that well. Like I said, whenever Ray is, you watch when Ray is there, he keeps them very organized. He does it in training, but he also does it in the game. He's talking to them all the time. When you see that, and they have a young team as well, how does that set up the player that cannot take the information on game day? Because you have a lot of players like that, just cannot take information during the game.
I really don't think that their shows have a whole lot of quality. I think I said it last week. I think you look one of the national team coaches that are coaching their shows, have been around for all this fight. But I just don't think that their shows have the quality anymore. And the type of, not only philosophy, but good passing, transition game, the quality emerging demonstrates 15, 20 years ago. Marcus started Fairy Tale, that deal. I mean, I remember my show watching it, it's like, yeah, that's how I want to play. But the demonstrates is nowhere like that, like it's just, it's like, so, what do you have to work with? And I don't think they have the quality of players anymore. And the demonstrates philosophy. No matter what Ray Jones is trying to do there, he says there, but no, I just don't think. What's a junior program? Do they win trophies? Do you look at, okay, what's the next on the 15 player you see, on the 17 player? I don't see it coming to the demonstration now. So I think that will still be quote unquote the team will do very well in the division, and then they come up and they're going to go back down.
Right. And
I just don't think that I said to you, I'll make it quite clear. Why would Ray Jones take another challenge? I think I met Joe Ma on the back. He took the challenge and pulled out. I think it's not the right one. So maybe Ray Jones going to think about, okay, what am I doing now? Yeah, so what is going to do now? Why do you take up another challenge? So then you put themselves in what they're doing, just like Kenny Dolan was up to YU, but he's taking up challenges. I would like to see Ray Jones, especially in the national program, take up another challenge at another level.
I'll just react to about players on this. I mean, that's a normal thing. Like, and I wouldn't just give the public an example of a player that wasn't capable of listening because of his learning style. So we're going to talk about how players learn, or matching their learning style, if they're illiterate or whatever. So you take Corinthia of the 1950 World Cup team. The coach didn't bring him in the change room because it would confuse him getting tactics. But they knew where to put the ball together to get the ball. So the intelligent players knew where to get it. So that's part of the puzzle. Okay, this player's not listening. He doesn't take you on information when I'm meeting this learning style. How do I incorporate that into my puzzle that I put in, especially if the player is valuable to the result of the team? We tend to just say, okay, this player can't listen, he can't play or whatever. But there are players that can learn that way. You have to figure out what that puzzle looks like.
Right. Before we go to the next game, which was the Paget Lions and Wolves, a 9-wheel thriller, it is 3-0 now to Devonshire Cougars over Robin Hood over at VAA. We talked about this particular game because Wolves, top of the table, taking on a Paget team who we know, full of experience and so forth. Wolves were actually leading 4-3 with 10 minutes to go and went down 5-4. Antoine Russell with a hat trick for Paget, showing his experience. The unfortunate day for Wolves, motocross day. When it's motocross day, no Troy Tucker.
Okay.
But for Wolves to lose 5-4 without Troy, it'll be a confidence booster for some of the players in that team. No,
Not all they.
not how they be.
Not all they. Not all their players. I mean, it's not surprising that they can lose 5-4 off the lead before.
Right.
That actually is not surprising, and they're going to get it each other. You know, they're not going to look at it and lose their confidence. This is just typical Wolves, and this is why I make the only solution for Wolves is a Rolfie and a John Barry, those type of characters and those type of leaders to build on. You can't have this organization deal with this organization. One thing I can say about Rolfie, I can say that about John Barry, they are very structured and organized people. How they just run their own lives, right? So if they go to a club like Wolves that has this type of talent, you know, I will bet you we'll be amazed what they can do. You know.
Bunch doesn't agree.
No.
Oh, okay. So you shake your head. So
I guess.
Yeah. Looking at Paget, Punchy, I mean, we know what they have in their arsenal. We know they have the Dion Stubble. We know they have the Antoine Ross. We know they have the Shakir Smith. It's making sure that it all works all at the same time. And we've seen that not work when they lost to BAA. So,
yeah.
I mean, putting this together, and this will be a big win for them because obviously Wolves are running hot right now, leading the division, or we're leading the division. But looking at Paget, how does this set them up for the remainder of the first half of the season?
I'm not really truly speaking. They're playing against Wolves, who I think, like quote unquote, should have a better coaching system. That's why I'm going to go back to what I was saying about Devin Chico's coach. You know, maybe he should take a job at Wolves. You know, challenge himself. I think he will be a lot better in terms of what Wolves lack. Yeah, exactly. I always tell you that these things are very important for the direction of our country's going. So where we're going. So who's Paget, right? So they got Dion Stubble, they got Mr. Russell, who's a player coach. But let's say, for instance, they get promoted. What's going to happen is they're going to play a Sunday afternoon down in Hamilton Parish, and they start losing. And then Mr. Russell stopped playing, that's what stopped playing. So now he's going to coach, right? So he comes up. So this is talk about development. I'm not. It's great to say, oh, it's a good game, 5-4, but let's be realistic about this thing. You know, what I've seen Paget play, and they're being out coached against me, like all the time. Like Dion Stall's what 37, 38. He's cricket and football. No, it's not gonna. That's just one off. What will they do afterwards if they get promoted? That would be Antoine's really sensible coaching.
Right.
It's playing and coaching. I tell you, I might tell you I did it in St. Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
What will he do when he comes up and next year he gets promoted? Okay, is development or is it running? Now he said in the papers, that it's all about restructuring and development, right? And it's playing.
Yeah.
You don't restructure at the senior level. You're going to restructure.
Thank you very much.
I mean, we talk about BA's restructuring or
Right.
That process, right? That process started about 2 years ago, right?
Right.
There's like players that BA's not there, they will be there since the
Well, one thing,
not at the senior level. The senior level is about winning.
Yeah.
Yes.
The president of Paget continuously tells me they have a plan and it will reveal itself soon. So
well, yeah.
We'll see.
One thing about plans, they reveal themselves.
Oh yeah. Rather you want it to come out,
they reveal yourself.
Yeah.
Something about plans.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saying that, you know, in all honesty, with Paget, you know, it's like off for that game. So let's say 2 weeks from now, then FA Cup game, and they're gonna play against maybe St. George's, and they're playing away from her. What would happen there? So that's what he would do with if he gets promoted the next year.
Right.
And so that's what I see in terms of what Paget and the president are going to do. What is the prospect? What are the prospects for the next 4 or 5 development? Do they have a youth program? What is Antoine? Antoine is a senior coach, or is he technical director? what are the plans that Patrick?
But he's working with Dun
Vickers.
Vickers, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, basically last week you said by the time Island Rangers cut down St. David's, they'd be tired. They ended up beating St. David's 4-2.
Who's that?
Island Rangers. It was Island Rangers. St. David's 2.
Billy Mike will come down St. David's and we go to Jesus. That's it. I'm not picking you again. Roll your bits, St. David's.
So, I mean, if you look at it, St. David's of late have been struggling. They've been giving up a lot of goals. And we know Island Rangers are a team that 1 week will show up and score a bunch. The next week can show up and it would almost look like
They don't know how to play football.
right. How does the coaching staff fix that for Island Rangers? I mean, if you were in charge of Island Rangers, the inconsistency, what would you be doing, Punchy, to address that?
It's kind of hard to even answer that question in terms of what the quality is. And I'm always concerned about the West End. What's happening in the West End in the South? Somerset, Island Rangers, and White Hill. There's 3 teams. Remember these. What's really happening in the West End? You know, what is the progress for Island Rangers? No, they're gonna be. Maybe it's gonna be just like St. David's. Just a competition that they show up and play. They have somebody in charge of a muscle. I don't know who's in charge of the team. But what do they have to offer? What is the quality? What is the junior program? What is the structure? Like, really, what are you about? And so, in this program, we're asking these questions of, like, okay, Island Rangers, you go to St. David's, which we know you should win, but what next? And that's my problem with a lot of with teams such as Island Rangers, such as Southampton Rangers. Yeah. And what's the next step for them?
Right. Well, you look at basically a team like St. David's, and clearly they are inconsistent. How does Aaron and I want to say
Fox.
Cameron address that? Because it's one of the things where the same problem that Ralphie has, you're leaking too many goals week in and week out.
How should you address that? Oh, I don't know. And Cameron had to go in because, I don't know how to, with all my football experiences, to ask me that question, I would say, okay, go team up with St. George's. Maybe you become a cricket club, St. David's, and St. George's is a football club. So that's the only reasonable solution that I have, because St. David's has been like this for 40 years plus, right? They've been this way for 40 years. So the actual grassroots football piece or the sporting piece of the club is to team up with the people that you actually love. Love and hate is the same thing, right? Team up with your lovers down St. George's and figure this out, because they're not going to figure it out in this climate. They're not going to produce. They're not going to have the expertise and the experience and the culture to produce football players. They're not. I don't remember. You can correct me if wrong. I don't remember a football player coming out of St. David's and playing for a national team.
No, that's very important. That's very exactly.
But actually, on a cricket, I can tell you 20 cricketers that came out of St. David's that played for a national team. So they're not really going to address the football.
And I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. This is really important for me. I always refer to the direction of the country in terms of and why this show is what it is, that people are more and more people tuning in. Like, why would Cameron Fox go on? What is Cameron Fox going to do? Like, it's the same thing that I'm asking about Ray Jones.
Well, he's helping. He's helping.
Okay, all right, yeah. But soon Cameron Fox take on another job, such as maybe, in terms of qualification. What way is he going to go down to restructure the program that is engaged for footballing future? Or is it going to be the same thing that happened with, remember, myself, Andrew, and Sergio go to Finland? So why would he do that? Why would he challenge himself for another job in terms of maybe he should be at Wolves? That's what I'm saying. So the reason I'm saying to just while we're having this conversation is challenge those people. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you making a decision? I'm sure Joe Mars probably questioned this situation, why he made the decision to put him out with next year and say,
I told you
but
about
why you make it, why are you there? Why are you there?
and it's just getting back to the Jamal, he's a good friend of mine. It's not me hating on anybody or anything like that. I spoke to Jamal directly that Boulevard Joe will be the death of his legacy of coaching career.
Yeah.
You know, Danny Thomas, when he was out there, was a growth of it because there was a structured environment that he can benefit with his skill sets. But it's a case study for football.
Right.
Like you were,
Yeah.
case study for football.
The final first division match, I was at Police Field. It was 8 girls in that match with Young Men's Social Club drawing 4-4 with Southampton Rangers. Of late, Southampton Rangers have been scoring goals. They obviously are also giving up goals, but not as many as they give up today. And they have been a surprise. We thought they wouldn't be able to offer anything, but they've proved us wrong. They have a new coach. He's got them playing a different structure. You know, the senior players that remained at the club have taken on a responsibility to ensure that they get something out of it. And I think so far it's working for them. And I think they're comfortable in the space they're in.
Yeah, and I'm going to speak to, I watch these clubs closely, right? I just was at Rangers the other day and I see their created a relationship with Seaside Grill, the fish place, the Boiled Rangers. Those are the things that I like. Those are the things that I see community clubs, they start to do these things and service their community, they can grow. And people with these type of facilities, you know, they have a great ability outside, you know, to really service their community. And honestly, I thought Rangers was there football-wise after what we saw last year. You know, so they go back in there and now they're on. So when I see that, I say, well, let me pay attention to what's happening in their community. So I saw one of the older players after coaching the youth team. Why I forgot his name because I know him quite well, right? But you know, then when you see things like Seaside Grill, and I'm highly critical of all our clubs, we know that. So when you see certain things like that, okay, there's a good step in the right direction. You create relationships with business entities within Bermuda, your service in the community. You know, so maybe that's going on, and I'll dig deeper into what's happening after it. You know, they can sort of reinvent themselves. So maybe that's what it is. It is putting a little bit of pride back into their football team.
Sure.
I'm going to add to, I'm sorry. What I want to add to this is, because again, doing my research, a couple of weeks ago, let's talk about something like Rangers and talk about clubs in general. And I was thinking that I saw the front page a couple of weeks ago with what Rutgers Club. So, perfect example, if I bring this, so I was reading there, so this great glamour club, at one time, when Norwich was playing in the FA Cup, like, whoa, what place? What was no man? I don't want to play in the FA Cup. And then they had a cricket team. So they, you know, professors and I'm not going to go into the political part of it. The professor be a very rich black club. Okay, cool. But they have no sport program. What is going on there? That's like social club. I'm gonna say it, take it personal. Like, so what are these clubs that have this stigma of being a very good a black club, quote unquote, very organized, very sick. What is going on here in terms of like social club and teams like World War? The cricket club is not there. Social club haven't built on what they achieved years ago. So what is going on in this country? Why are we not asking these questions? So I'm asking these questions to people. So you are Workman is a rockets club, or is it an athletic club? Is it a sports club? Do you have a junior program, a soccer program? Do you have a netball program like Norwich? What do you have? Okay, now the point that I'm saying is that when you have discussions about, okay, so you know, what are you really about? So the clubs that are really doing, like the North Villages, what's happening to St. George's, rebuilding the total program. St. George's building a total program. Sunset is starting to rebuild a total program again. Is the cause for concern to you in the direction of where our country is going in terms of like these clubs that what are they about? Are you a sporting club or you're a community club? So is what we're in a community club or are they a sporting club?
Just so we bring it back in, maybe a year and a half ago, the Alphas, and this is how we engage the wider community, not just with sporting people.
Mm-hmm.
They had us Thursday, I don't know if you attended up Cedar Breeze, and that question was asked. You know, you had St. George's, you had North Village, and what was determined on that question that we don't have sporting clubs in the community, we have social clubs. We don't, so sporting, we have social clubs that use sports for our social, because if we had sporting clubs, the behavior would be different, and that's no different from sailing and all these other clubs. It's not just our black clubs. It's not, you know, it's not just a black thing. It's great for sport, because sporting is a different behavior. It's a very different behavior when you implement sporting behavior versus social behavior. So we have to have this conversation. Are we just going to be social clubs and we're going to be recreational? We're going to play football, cricket, and we're going to be sporting clubs and really develop international sporting people.
Well, I'm going to say before we go forward, right? This is a problem. What's happening? Right? Let's take for instance what's happening Boulevard. What's happening with what you're saying about the boulevards?
Does that take up the
yeah, are we becoming? And so it's a social change. Where are we going? And our preparation in terms of all this is so important to have these discussions. And so it's not to belittle other clubs. It's just to say let's have a discussion about this. And what I'm saying to you, what I always want to be this program about, asking people questions about the direction that this country is going in. And last but not least, when the Canadian player, the Canadian coach is saying how he's left, you know, we used to be steward Canadians, but you know now, and look, this has left us far behind. So, what are we deciding to do in this restructuring of this football and cricket, whatever it is? What are we, the people in charge, direction that we're going in?
We're going to take one more commercial break. When we come back, we're going to do our picks and the player of the week and month. We'll be right back.
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
I'm also thankful and grateful because my greatest value of my life is my legacy.
But why I do it? I feel supposed to do it. I was put here to be here, to do what I'm doing right now. Once I see somebody moving, it's the greatest joy for me. There's a little person being born.
I am thankful that people have given me the trust, you know, for me to empower them, from my players to my family to friends. And that's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that people have allowed me and trusted me to be in their life.
And welcome back. Well, on to those picks from last week. We had the Robin Hood Somerset Trojans game. We all took Somerset Trojans, and they won 4-0. Then we had the Crossroads versus Devonshire Cougars. We all took Devonshire Cougars, and Devonshire Cougars won that 4-3. Then in the Premier Division, we all took PHC Zebras over the Boulevard Blazers. Then in the Hamilton Parish Dendytown game, it was myself, Punchy, and Maceo taking Hamilton Parish. Coach Keita took Dendytown, and Parish won that 3-1. The North Village St. George's game, myself and Punchy took a draw. Maceo and Coach Keita took St. George's Colts, and we know St. George's won that 4-0, so they get a point there. Crossroads and Somerset, we all took Somerset Trojans, and Crossroads won that match 2-0. In the Shield match, as we know, is at the half right now. I'm sorry, the Robin Hood and Devonshire Cougars is still 3-0 at halftime. The Shield match, BAA and Paget. Myself, Punchy, and Coach Keita took Paget. Maceo took BAA, and Paget won that match 2-0. BAA versus Devonshire Colts. Myself, Punchy, Maceo took BAA. Coach Keita took Devonshire Colts. BAA won that 1-0. Paget versus Wolves. Myself, Maceo, and Coach Keita all took Paget, and Punchy, you took Wolves. It was 5-4 to the Paget Lions. I made a mistake last week because I said that Social Club was playing Somerset Eagles, and it was Social Club and Southampton Rangers, and that ended up in a draw. So I basically gave everybody 1 point. And then obviously St. David's versus Island Rangers. It was Island Rangers winning 4-2. Myself and Maceo. I'm sorry, myself and Coach Keita took Island Rangers. Punchy and Maceo took St. David's. So the scores, I had 9 up until the point of this game going on now. Punchy, you have 7. Maceo, you have 8. And Coach Keita has 8. Now, let's quickly look at the matches for this week coming up. And it's the Shield quarterfinals on Sunday. We have Devonshire Colts taking on St. David's. And we'll start with you, Punchy.
The Devonshire Colts going to be this. Which game you playing at?
This one is at St. David's.
Is that St. David's?
Yes.
I'm gonna take Devonshire Colts for this. Yeah.
Okay. Maceo?
Yeah, Devonshire Colts for sure.
And I will take Devonshire Colts as well. Now, quarterfinal for the Shield. We have Island Rangers and Southampton Rangers at Wellington Oval. Maceo.
Jesus, Southampton Rangers. I'm gonna take Southampton Rangers.
Wow, they're scoring so many goals now. I'm gonna take Southampton as well. Punchy?
I'm gonna take Southampton Rangers on that. I don't think Island Rangers is gonna come all the way down there. No. That's Southampton Rangers will win this game.
They must have heard you and Punchy, like you and Maceo last week, because they went and they were wide awake. Another quarterfinal match. Paget beat BAA, so Paget are taking on Somerset Eagles right here at Bernard Park. I'm going to take Paget. Punchy?
I'm taking Paget. Hands down.
And Maceo.
Yeah, Paget had a flip against BA. I think that is something that they needed.
Sure. The last quarterfinal Shield match is Wolves versus Young Men's Social Club, and that is a night game. Punchy.
Yes, Wolves. Wolves, Wolves.
Maceo.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm taking Wolves as well. Night game,
Yeah.
They're used to it.
Are you playing any dog?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 4 Shield quarterfinal matches, we've all picked the same team. Now we go to the Friendship quarterfinals. At Bernard Park, North Village take on the Boulevard Blazers. Macy, it's your turn.
Yeah, no, this would be football.
I'm gonna take the Rams as well. Punchy?
I'm gonna take no offense on this. Yeah, that moves in the cut. They're not nothing. I think that they're not gonna be called on this. I think no offense for this.
Now it is a rematch of that match that ended 3-2 last week. St. George's Colts entertained PHC at Wellington Oval. I'm actually gonna take, because it's gotta be a winner. I'm gonna take St. George's on this one to avenge that loss from last week. Punchy.
I'm gonna take some George's from what I saw today. I think the discussion be done, what they came on the block so slow against PHC. That Saturday afternoon, and what they need to fix. They showed real good character today, and they showed true quality of what we're talking about. The run they basket has added so much more to the open attack.
Right.
So I'm going with St. George's for this.
Sure. Ace?
Just as you're speaking, I got a text from a St. George's person and asking me again, are they a football club? As I regularly do, I change the goalposts. I move the goalposts. You're on your way to being a football club, but you got to win a football trophy. If you want to be a football club, you got to.
Oh boy! earlier you said they beat a football club. Yeah. Now what?
I changed the goalposts. I do that a lot.
Okay.
I move the goalposts from side to side. But I think they will beat PHC. I actually think the momentum with Oakbridge now they figured out there's a couple of things. They figure out how to use that rapid moments. They don't gotta get up, get this out this week. I think they'll be PHC.
The next one is Hamilton Parish take on the winner of Robin Hood and Somerset, and we know Somerset won that. So Hamilton Parish versus Somerset Trojans at Lords and St. David's. Punchy, you're out.
I'm going to Hamilton Parish for this. That's Surgeons. I think that's what they're looking for. They're not going to win in the league. They're going to look at Surgeons probably sit down and talk to them. Listen, all we got to do is secure our safety in the division, top division. But when we go over clubs, it's all out. That's Hamilton Parish.
Hamilton Parish take on who?
Somerset Trojans.
That's an interesting matchup, right? Because Somerset also tend to get off the trophies. I mean, that's what we're seeing that's happening. But I think they're going to get awakened that they need to play all the time. They need to be able to play football all the time, not just get off the trophies. And I think Parish is on their second win right now. They're on their second win, so because of that, I'm taking Hamilton Parish to beat they just won. Because for me, they do have the better players, so I'm taking Hamilton Parish.
I was thinking about it.
In that light,
however,
Somerset will get up.
I think Somerset will get up for this. I think Scott will have a real sit down with them again to remind them. And I think he will get the puzzle right this week. And I'm going to take the Somerset Trojans for this one. Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure a lot of Parish people have already decided that I'm wrong. So, hey. The last one is Dandy Town. It's a night game. Take on Devonshire Cougars. Who was fresh just now?
And game is where?
At BAA. I was last. So basically, you're first.
Devonshire Cougars, at any time, they're the walking down right now.
Yeah. I'm going to take Cougars as well because I believe Dandy Town have to show us something. Yeah.
I'm going to take Cougars with this also. And it's just unbelievable what we're witnessing here.
Right.
Yeah. They're in a free fall, anytime. And it just so happened overnight. I thought it maybe was the game and they beat Somerset 4-3 with Aaron Jenkins, and then I think what we also said with the coach from BA, they never going over there. So there's some changes, but I still don't think they're the right mentality. So I'm going, no.
Sure. All right. Well, we've come to the part where we picked Kadeem Abraham as the player of the week for last week, or week before last. So this was the presentation at Goslin for Kadeem.
Good day, my name is Andrew Holmes, the brand director for Goslin's Realm, and I'm really excited to be here with Kadeem Abraham, player of the week, scored a hat trick to beat St. George's Colts for his team, PHC Zebras. Keep up the good work on the field. You're inspiring a lot of young people to continue with football and get involved. Here's a bottle of Flora Gold rum for you to enjoy over the holidays. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks.
There you have it. So now we have to pick the player of the week for last week, as well as the player of the month. And we're going to go with the player of the week first. And we look at last week, we saw the likes of Somerset beating Robin Hood, St. George's beating Crossroads, that 2-2 draw with Devonshire Cougars and North Village, standout players in that match. Clearly, goalkeeper for North Village making some crucial saves late in the match. Southampton Rangers beating up St. David's, Devonshire Colts edging Social Club. That PHC game against Bandytown, somebody like Mark Warren, who has been an orchestrator of a lot of things happening on and off the field for PHC. And then it was that 3-2 Somerset Trojans win over Boulevard. But the standout players for those matches, we look at St. George's, obviously Druande Bascom making his debut for St. George's, scoring early. The game with the North Village and Nicorey Smith and Justin Bell scoring for North Village, D'Amico Cuddington scoring for Devonshire Cougars, and Zico White scoring as well. So did any players stand out for any of you guys last week?
For me, definitely I would say Jordan Day is a game changer now. It's a club game changer, it's a football changer. Him coming in and what he's providing and what he also provided today. So for me, I would lean towards Jordan as to what the significance of what he's actually doing for the stature of club St. George's years. If I would course reference Mark with PhD, then it's got a whole legacy behind that PhD, right? So this is expected, at PhD. So Rwanda is creating a legacy with this club.
Right.
So for me, I'm leaning towards Rwanda.
What about you, Punji?
I would with Mason, just his experience, his father, what he's learned, he's always from his father's in this area. Well, remember, he's been coaching at the junior level. He's been doing really good stuff. I go and watch the training session on meeting. Jorande is really coming a long way. And today, also is a perfect example of what I witnessed today, even though we're ahead of ourselves. But, to see him playing off his experience and his knowledge. So I'm going to pick him as, that would be my pick.
There you go. Jorande Bascom has been named the Gosling's Player of the Week. Now, to run down the list of Player of the Month, the winners, we had Jonte Smith, we had Paul Simons, we had Detre Dow, we had Kadeem Abraham, and Druande. Okay, so as we know, Jonte came out of the blocks, scoring a hat trick, then scoring 2 goals in the next game. And of course, we picked Detre Bell because he's been consistent. Other than today, he's been consistent for North Village and goal, not giving up many goals. Obviously, Kadeem Abraham went on a goal scoring streak, scoring a hat trick against St. George's to beat them. Paul Simon scored 2 goals for PHC in their big win over, I believe it was, who did PHC beat a couple of weeks ago?
It was Cross River Bolts with his goals.
Yes, Cross River. That's right, hat trick against his former club. That's right. So, looking at those players, Punchy, I'll start with you.
Well, it's two. Jonte Smith and Detroit Detroit against Devonshire Cougars, man. Just some of the stuff that he done, He's been so important. Even today we lost. You know, it's kind of hard, but I kind of want to go with John T. Smith. What he's done with St. George's, and you know, it's just great to watch him. You know, playing on England and what he brings to St. George's as a target figure. You know, some of the stuff I've seen him do is simple stuff that people just learn from watching. And that's what was so good. I'm good with John Tate.
Okay. Before you say, I'm actually, my head has been wrapped around D-Trey Bow for his consistency. He has shown his qualities for North Village, and that's why I edged him just a little further ahead than John Tate. So, you did decide, Maceo?
Yeah. I always decide based on the balance, right? And definitely D-Trey Bow is had an honorable mention. But after what John Tay is doing today, you know, how his maneuvering, his professionalism and ability to score in these circumstances and a mentality shift where St. George is beating North Village 4-0 at North Village. Like I'm always leaning towards the winner, beating this winner. So I'm John Tate for me because he's creating a new culture in St. George's. So I'm John Tate for me, but definitely the good as folks saying what D-Trey Bow is bringing to North Village and bringing to, you know, that defensive unit, but John Tate's pushing it a little bit hard for me.
Wow. Well, congratulations to John Tate Smith. You are the Gosling's Player of the Month. There you have it. We'll be back next week with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show right here on islandstats.com. Enjoy your night, guys. Thank you very much.